What's going on, family? Peace. Welcome back to another episode of The Infinite. I am your host, Rashad Young, and as always, I appreciate you all tuning in. Today's a little bit different. First off, I apologize for no video. I have tried. I have failed. That's because we are currently outside, literally, in nature, having a conversation, man, with a brother of mine. Yes, a brother of mine who is a producer. We consider him now a spiritual guru, a man of many thoughts and concepts. But the one thing that I've always appreciated about him was one is discipline. He is fully alkaline. He can dive into that whole narrative. If you're a meat eater or a vegan or a vegetarian, I guarantee you might want to tap into this episode. I hit him up yesterday. I was like, man, I've seen him, but I'm like, we haven't had an actual pod episode in my whole pod journey in quite some time, man. But I'm with my brother. I'll call you Sir Ye, Lord Ye, God Ye. Peace to the guy, Ye. My brother Ye, man. What's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm good, man. I appreciate you having me, man. For go by Kardea. Like you said, they call me Ye, Cain, God body, anything, so gratitude though for having me on.
Yeah, man. No, like I said, this is definitely like on the whim, but we have these conversations all the time. I think about all the group chats we have, man. We got, the music chat, we got the thinkers chat, we got the
I was thinking about that yesterday too.
We got the outside chat. Right. And each conversation is different, man. But the first question I wanted to ask you, I know we can talk about the music. We can get into that, man, but how did we get here? You know what I mean? Like, how do we get to somebody that's fully alkaline? Because I don't think people really understand, what it truly means. Because there's different fads, right? You got people who, do a carnivore diet. There's people who do keto. There's people who vegan. There's people who vegetarian, Right. But alkaline is even a lot more stricter than all those things, man. So how do we get to alkaline, Ye?
So, honestly, back in 2016, I think I did a month with no meat with somebody. And, after that, I just kept going. And then I think I broke the cycle. But somewhere in that mix in that year, I heard of, Dr. Sebi and everything he was doing. And I was like, dang, one day I want to do like that. But, to this point, I forgot about that whole, what I said until somebody reminded me full circle, like, you said you wanted to do this, But basically, through 2017, I was cut out, meat. I was pescatarian. And then from then, I'm like, all right, vegetarian. The hardest thing was the dairy, That's what everybody,
man,
so.
To this day.
Yeah. Eventually, I got rid of that. And, the vegan products really help because of boom, and it's a good and a bad. So it had some things got a lot of soy in it. So I'm like, I can't keep doing this. So here I am, alkaline. And then even with that, so still not done.
Right. So it was more of an active choice. Like, this is something that you decided to do because you felt like it was best for your body. Did you feel like you were going through something and you need to make a drastic change? Like, you mentioned Dr. Sebi,
right.
You mentioned a lot of points, but right. What got you into transitioning into just doing it?
Right. So really, I was looking back, I just wanted to better myself, I didn't have any health, anything wrong with me. I just wanted to keep bettering myself. Like, hey, let me see if I could do this. Let me see if I could do that, And I know the benefits, if you cut out these certain things, then you can achieve this, You'll be in this type of mind state and overall health. So I'm like, that's what I want to be, I want to be optimal health. So that's kind of where I'm at. And in the beginning also, I didn't really, I'm like, why would I eat animals if, I love animals.
Let's stop right there.
Okay.
Let's stop real quick. Now we're finna get into some real spicy stuff.
Okay.
You mentioned a lot, so I guess before I ask you your question, you discovered Dr. Sebi, I'm assuming, on YouTube. or did you find them through? I mean, I know like the further things with Dr. Sebi probably go back to like Left Eye when she was alive.
Right. Yeah.
That's how I think most of us probably heard about Dr. Sebi. Like,
I think it was some type of video on Instagram or something.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
But then those who don't know who Dr. Sebi is, you feel free to chime in on what you know. He pretty much was a holistic doctor. Not sure there's a different term for that. Pretty much historically, out in nature is bugging my face. Out in nature, but historically he was known for. He pretty much cured people of AIDS, as they say. Like that was his most notable thing, where he had a federal case with the courts, because obviously Western medicine is a lot different than holistic medicine, and so he kind of discovered the different God items in the earth where we pretty much create natural healing. And I, like most people, like Left Eye, Nipsey Hussle was also another person that kind of mentioned it. Like we're going mainstream, like those two people definitely talked about them the most. But it's a crazy thing to know. Like we have doctors like that in this space where, I don't want to get into the whole story what happened with Dr. Sebi. I would definitely recommend you all researching it. I think it's just really interesting to know this is a different way to live. But to the controversial side, though,
right?
Most of us, man, we like our chicken. You know what I mean? We like a steak. We like all the great things in the world. So for those who come to you, because I've done it before, but I've also tried your alkaline product, so I get it. But those that come to you and be like, man, ain't nothing wrong with meat, ain't nothing wrong with chicken, ain't nothing wrong with steak, ain't nothing wrong with none of that.
Right.
Your response?
To each their own, for real, definitely, because everybody. It's always even outside of health, it's always a bigger picture, because I just look at like everybody got their own journey, everybody got their own perception and perspective. So you can only do so much. Now it's different when people come for advice like, hey, I'm trying to get off this, then I can open up, but I'm not finna try to convert somebody and I'm not finna debate with you. You know what I'm saying?
That's real. I will say, perspective wise, I mean, we've known each other our whole lives, but when you see people on social media that try to portray a guilt, like you shouldn't be eating meat because you're gonna die or whatever. Yeah. Don't you think it makes it more difficult for people to want to consider taking a different lifestyle, or are you not really focused about that when you talk about, the alkaline way of living?
So basically you're saying like when people, because it is people out there to be like, oh, they try to shove it down your throat like, oh yeah, you're going to die if you don't convert, kind of extreme.
Yeah, like the extremists of any dietary lifestyle or lifestyle itself.
Yeah.
Because you mentioned people coming to you about questions and things like that.
Yeah, so I don't really necessarily come off like that. I think it depends on the scenario, because if you like stage 4 cancer or just something that's real critical and you just making bad habits left and right, bad decisions left and right, then I'm here for a reason, you know what I'm saying? Like maybe you need to hear this from somebody else, like, like me. So I'm not going to shy away and, I'm going to give you the real, because you might need it in that moment. But on a general basis, like, I'm not going to shove nothing down nobody's throat. So.
Yeah, no, I get that. I mean, we know you. We always give you a hard time about that. We just know when you care about something, that's just,
right.
You want to share that knowledge. And I think that's the one thing that I've discovered knowing more as you've spread the information is not that you're telling us what you think we should do. You are embarking this journey. We're not. You're telling us the benefits and how it affects your life, and you just want us to be in a healthier state. Because I always joke with you that there's some days I feel alkaline and some days I don't feel it, because it does require a different level of discipline. Now, I think another thing that needs to be discussed, because we didn't really get into it at the start, what's the difference between alkaline lifestyle and veganism and vegetarianism?
So, vegan involves soy. You eating all fruits, all vegetables, and cooked products as well. Like when I say cooked, I mean like the incredible, what's that called?
Are you talking about Beyond Meat?
Yeah, the Beyond Burgers and
Yeah, like the Impossible.
yeah, the Impossible. That's one. The Impossible and Beyond stuff like that. That's considered vegan, processed. You know what I'm saying? Processed stuff. Alkaline is more natural. You know, and that means basically like you're not eating hybrid vegetables or fruits. You know, you sticking to the ancient natural grains, the fruits. You know, that's your baby bananas. That's your burro bananas.
So
My fault.
I'm not cutting you off because of information. You said baby and burro bananas. Are you telling me that the bananas I be eating at Snooks or Deerbergs, could they be saying I get the one that say organic, you know what I mean? I know that's what they say, you know, in air quotes. Are you telling me that's cap?
It is cap.
God,
Drop a bomb.
golly, man.
But and then that's more controversial when it comes to whole organic labeling. Me personally, I be feeling like that's just a ploy they do to gravitate people in, like, oh, I want to be healthier, so I'm gonna get the organic thing, you know. Mm-hmm. But yeah, those are that's a hybrid, bro.
So what's a hybrid?
So a hybrid is basically anything that's man-made in a lab or crossbred between two species of natural vegetables or plants, or, you know. So basically, an example would be carrot is a hybrid, and it is a cross between, I think it's called the Queen's Lace and something else I can't recall. I think the yam, a wild yam. So you fuse both of them together, and they came up with the carrot. And what makes it a hybrid is it doesn't have any seeds, it doesn't reproduce, and so it's like, you know. I think some hybrids you can't burn them.
You know what?
Yeah,
I thought about it. I've never seen a carrot burnt.
Yeah, like they don't burn naturally. Like, yeah,
Right, they usually have like a
burn mark or
like
something.
a burn mark. Yeah. That's how you're always able to tell.
Yeah.
So obviously,
My fault. I cursed on her. Okay.
I don't care. Like that was I first I'm almost 30. It's a different time. All right. So I think that's a great thing to know though, because, you know, obviously the world's in a different state now. There's a larger number of people, so things are being made in extreme fashion, like relatively quick. It's very quick. It's very processed. Like, thing is, for anybody listening to this, like, I want you to understand what he's saying. I most naturally, you like, man, that's crazy. Like, he's talking crazy. But then you start thinking about it, and you're like, man, so like, what exactly is real? Especially when you said the seeded part, because I think about watermelons. Like, I don't eat watermelons, but I remember recently I saw you post, I think, on your story, like, you was hunting for watermelons that are seeded, because those are, most of them naturally are unseeded.
It's insane, bro.
Well, not naturally, but what you see in stores unseeded.
Right, yeah, because they trying to, you know, make everything unseeded, and it's crazy.
So
seedless, I mean, you know.
So should we not eat at all? Like, I'm just trying to figure it out. Like, that's the question I think people want to know, because what you do in your lifestyle is really strict.
Yeah.
You pretty much have to cook everything at home.
I'm not even done.
I know.
Because
just getting started.
Because then you got raw plant-based, and that's basically you're not eating nothing cooked, you know.
That's different.
Yeah, that's different. You're not eating no grains. You're just eating fruits and vegetables straight.
So you haven't? Are you in the process of doing that, or?
I ain't gonna say I'm in the process, because I still like to eat my, you know, my cooked stuff, you know. So I'm not necessarily there yet, but I know I could do it. But
so you're saying raw, like nothing touches a pot?
Nothing touches a fire.
Wow.
Yeah. That means any grains, any vegetables, you know. So yeah, it's a different lifestyle. But what else was I finna say? What you asked me?
I'm sorry, since we're outside, we're hearing a lot of conversation outside. So if you hear this, I do apologize. But it's all good in the loop. But I think my question was more so pertaining just to understanding the difference between them both, and also like what exactly do we eat?
All right, yeah,
in that process, especially when inflation's at an all-time high. You know, people already. The crazy thing is, like, people recognize these things. Like, people know that, you know, getting healthier options is more expensive.
Right.
But even then, you're now telling me that those healthier options, some of those actually might be kept, so they're actually not healthy at all. So what do I do? Where do I go?
Okay, so one, I'm gonna say it really depends on the person, and it depends on what's important to the individual. You know, some people cherish just experiencing, you know, life how they want to do. You know, some people put their body and health first, and that's cool. Some people just want to go for taste and, you know, things that they love to do and consume, and that's okay too, you know, because everybody got their own life. So can't really recommend too much, but just be true to yourself. As far as
like grocery stores, like where would you recommend people to go who want to try that lifestyle the best they can?
And then also I find that it's kind of like, because yes, healthier foods, quote unquote, some of them do be more higher price, but like I said, that goes back to the whole organic labeling. They try to, it's organic, so we're gonna up the price, you know what I'm saying? And it's just a gray area, because I don't believe it.
It's not really gray, it's clear.
Well, okay, yeah, you know.
You paying higher for organic whole food? You know? So you're saying Whole Foods.
So, okay, an example, and this is me, just my opinion. They got two things. They got two different blueberries, two sets of raspberries, you know, and they got the regular, then they got the organic. You probably gonna want to go with the regular joints, because the organic is like $2+ most of the time, at least $1. And it's like, it's a ploy in my opinion. But I was gonna say, I think it's a misconception when people be like, eating healthier is more expensive. Yes and no, because it just depends on how you got to know where to go, and you got to budget it the right way. Because really, I've seen people, and I've done it myself, you can budget, pick a few items and have them 2 meals for the whole week. You know what I'm saying? So you really just got to make it make sense.
No, that's real. So here's another question. I always have this thought, respectfully. Mm-hmm. Do you think we eat too much? As
in a Western, yeah.
As a Western society?
Yeah.
And
you definitely do.
Explain to me, what do you mean?
Well, I don't know too much of the Eastern ways, but I know in Asia they don't eat, well, the more traditional ones, they don't eat that much, you know. But to focus over here, I mean, you can look up different documentaries that they say that almost, if not half of the United States is obese, you know. I could say 1/5, 1/4, you know. And that's ridiculous. Right?
Now, when you say an obese, are we going, I don't believe a certain body type means somebody's obese.
Okay. So
like Asian cultures, they usually, just if we're going off a general overview, they appear more thinner.
Right.
But I don't necessarily think that you being thinner means you're healthier.
That's a fact too. So let's take out the whole obese thing.
Okay.
People do, because that comes down to metabolism too. So let's just get rid of that word. People over here definitely overeat. You know, not everybody, but it's majority of people overeat. You know, because think about snacks. When we start, you know what I'm saying? That probably got started when we was kids. You know what I'm saying? So
because kids have snacks,
right? But that was nowhere near. I mean, nowhere. That was something made up to, like, really. And if it was, like, they probably incorporated like healthy snacks like fruit and stuff, and then they threw cookies out there like, hey, let's just snacks, and then goldfish. Think of all the different snacks out there.
Snacks are more sugar based now. Yes,
Yeah.
I don't think snacks are a bad thing, especially with kids. I just think it's
But that's what I'm saying. Like, it's grown into
it's like an accustomed.
right, and
Like kids have to have a snack,
right,
or people,
which
at this point.
incorporates overeating. But
Just think it depends on what it is.
yeah,
Like-
and then it comes to that's on a smaller scale.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
I just think it's natural.
yeah. Also, I'm trying to think. These birds are nice.
We outside, man.
Yeah, outside.
What you doing?
If I'm trying to think, you know, a lot of people eat late at night.
On me.
That's just a whole nother thing too, because they say we only supposed to eat different foods throughout the day and cut off, you know, like around 8 or 9 p.m. Stop eating. You know, a lot of people eat at night. Excuse me. When we do that, you're not giving our bodies time to digest, and so when we go to sleep, then our body working harder and harder, and you know, so that plays a factor too in overeating.
Yeah, what's that rhythm?
It's called circadian rhythm.
Circadian rhythm, where from when you sleep to sleep until you wake up, usually like the first 10, 13 hours, you're on a circadian rhythm. So that's why a lot of, I would say, more natural doctors haven't been such a
success.
Not even that, such success. They don't really expand upon breakfast. Like they don't think breakfast is a concept that should happen.
Yeah.
Unless it's fruit,
right,
or some sort of, more of a natural thing that's meant for the body. But most of our breakfasts are sugar. Like I won't lie, like oatmeal is a natural thing, but I usually put sugar in oatmeal. Kids, most of us usually eat cereal for breakfast or pancakes or waffles. So it's crazy to know like what you eat in the beginning of the day can also determine the rest of your day too.
Yeah.
Seriously. Yeah. That's the crazy part too. And I think when you kind of taught us about date syrup, we grew up, man, we had syrup on our pancakes and waffles, and I think I started to really pay attention to how my body was operating when shout out to whoever listened to that music. I started to pay attention more so to how I felt in the morning when you started to kind of tell us, you mentioned about fasting before. You mentioned about just the type of foods you eat. And then the crazy thing is, like, I don't even think we pay attention to the fact, like, how much of a lethargic state we are.
How much what?
In a lethargic state that we're in.
Yeah.
So, like, as soon as we eat, most of us have, we call it the itis, where you're tired and
think that shit normal.
And naturally, like you said, you think it's normal, but there's nothing normal. You should not naturally feel tired after eating a meal because it gives you no energy. Like most of us, we eat comfort food. Like that's just a natural thing. Like I'm not shaming nobody because I had a steak yesterday. Hey, you know what I'm saying? Like, this conversation, I'm not the expert. I come to
and
him.
I'm not. I'm still I'm always gonna be a student.
Yes.
Like he said, he just said stay yesterday, and I'm not better than nobody either. So we just speed it.
So I just think but it is crazy though. 'Cause after I ate that, I felt lethargic. Like I just wanted to go to sleep.
Yeah, now, like you said, people listen to this. Just think for a second. Like we get the itis, and you get sleepy. Take a nap. But think how you feel. Like how you say you pay attention to your body more. You know what it means. It's really like your body is really telling you like, I'm tired, like we need to go to sleep now. And that's where nap come in. But it's saying we need to shut down now because I need to digest some of this food. Like you doing too much to me right now. So that's why when we sleep at night, it works and to digest all that food. And so by the time you wake up, you could do it all over. And it's a lot, bro. Because like I said, I'm still learning, but when you fast, it's the opposite, liquid fast, for instance, like if you're not consuming them a lot of solids and stuff, then your body has that time to rejuvenate. On day 2, there's a lot of craving and hunger pains, like what's going on, where this food, like where's the food at, where's the solids. Day 3, day 4, you have more energy. You like, okay, I don't need to sleep as much because I digested all that food. You're not really having bowel movement. So therefore, your digestive system can focus on other parts of the body and heal in other areas like the brain and etc. So that's why you have more energy, because your digestive system not working as hard. So
yeah, and that's something I pay attention to. And like I said, I still have consumed. I've tried to be more mindful. When I definitely have those signals, though, it is something, man. Well, I wanted to get off that topic for a second, because I think there's other things that me and you've always talked about. One thing that we've always talked about as of late is relationships. Not, not trying to get into your personal business and what you do. Mm-hmm. But do you think that there is a dynamic issue within? As much as I want to emphasize the Black community, do you think there's a dynamic issue with relationships today?
I mean, ain't that kind of self-explanatory?
I'm asking you.
Oh yeah.
But I think don't matter. I'm asking you.
I guess in what way though? Because that's a plethora. But...
Okay, so do you think that the standards have changed in modern dating?
Definitely.
Okay.
I always say, sometimes I wish that we were kind of born a little, maybe like in the
80s?
mid-80s, yeah, just because we have that interaction where you meet somebody in person versus social media. You have that face-to-face interaction, and it's more authentic and real versus, you can be real through the phone, but it's just not the same, That's just how I feel, but that's one thing.
Okay, so let's go into the options thing. Me and you've talked about this. Do you think that because you are exposed to a lot more, that it puts you in a position where... Actually, let's go back.
Okay.
This is more of a hot take.
Okay.
I think I know the answer to this, but I'm asking you. What is your take on monogamy?
Oof.
I'm monogamous. I'm asking you.
You said you are?
I'm in a relationship, but am I not?
Well,
I'm not against it.
That's what I meant. Okay. I'm not against it. I can't say it's for me because I think
it's gonna get spicy.
Yeah, it's gonna get spicy.
Go ahead.
I think that people kind of take it to, like, people just jump into it, especially out here in the United States, and they don't know everything that comes with that.
Okay, do tell.
In Africa, I don't know what regions or what countries, but it's more, they do that for a purpose, not just because, I want to, you know what I'm saying, or I want.
You're talking they do polygamy?
Yeah.
Okay.
My bad.
No, I get it. I know. I'm just making sure. I'm following. So you're saying that we know these things. African culture is more so they were known for polygamy or having multiple partners, and typically that was because they were of an expansion of a family, and
So I guess this is what I'm gonna say, because I can relate to both.
Okay, let's hear it.
But I cannot say that I would be in a polygamous relationship, because, at least not right now, because it's just too much that goes with that. But back to your direct question, I just feel like you saying, is that for me?
I'm just saying, like, what is your thoughts on monogamy? Like, because me and you have talked. You have come off sometime as anti-monogamous, and also you came into pro-monogamous. I think it just depends on the situation.
Yeah, I feel like coming from a marriage standpoint.
I'm trying to hear this. Man trying to hide away. I asked you a question. I don't think nobody. First of all, I don't think nobody's gonna be offended.
Oh no,
It's a serious question. You know, like it's.
I was telling somebody, I'm like, I be telling people, at least right now, I don't see myself in a traditional marriage, if that makes sense. Like,
what do you mean? Like the whole wedding, signing off on stuff?
right, signing off, paperwork, because you gotta think, you already know this, but most people don't. They just, especially, I mean, not even say that.
No. So say it with your chest, man.
I feel like maybe not so much as of now, because I hold our women highly, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I hold our colored melanated women highly. But at the same time, it's a lot of just jumping into it because it's like a trend or it's what it's expected or it's
talking about monogamy or you're talking about marriage?
Marriage.
Okay.
So I'm just like, you know that marriage is business, basically.
Yeah, pretty much picking a business partner.
Right. So, but a lot of people don't look at it like that. Especially, I feel like the women, they just like, I could say the younger women, they just look at like, or the women that don't have a business mindset, you know, without that information.
Do tell.
I just feel like if you don't have the business mindset, maybe not even, okay, the women and the males, you know, but
yeah, you already know there's gonna, people gonna fire back.
Right.
Like,
it's definitely both sides, but at the same time, I'm just emphasizing on the women because I just see a lot of women always stressing marriage versus men. And men might have their own reasons on why they don't want to get married, but still.
I think the flip is though, marriage was never really. Think about it. When we grew up, was marriage really brought to you?
Like,
did your dad ever tell you about marriage? And I'm not saying that because rather the relationship status or not. Like men aren't emphasized about marriage because it's not labeled as much of an importance. Like
that's the thing. So
it's like, a twofold thing.
I was gonna say I feel like I don't even think it matters with. Well, it does matter with the parents, but from my situation, not necessarily because
situation based.
Because a lot of outside parties was like, you know, my folks wasn't married back then, so a lot of outside parties was like, oh, when is he gonna do this? Like, when is he gonna, you know, marry her and stuff like that? So that automatically made me feel like, dang, Dad, when you gonna do this?
What you gonna do?
So that's more pressure, even though like he knows that I don't know the whole details of the shit.
For sure.
You know, so that's the whole point. It's a lot of, we don't know the details of it all.
Yes.
It's a legal bind. It's a business, like you said, but people don't go into it like that. You could be with somebody and have your own type of marriage. You know what I'm saying? You could love somebody, be with somebody for 20 years and not be married.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all could exchange rings, do your own ceremony. Y'all could have your own folks come through and just not be bonded by them legal papers. But when y'all do decide that y'all ready for a business relationship, then y'all could go take it to the court. And then that's going to be beneficial. But I feel like people just throw themselves in.
You're saying people getting married first so I understand the ramifications of everything. I mean, that's a valid point. Actually, you know what's crazy? I was just recently watching a TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
You know, usually finances is the number one reason why marriages don't work. You know what the new one is? It's communication.
Mm.
And for somebody who was part of the Struggle with Communication Club, getting better, but I'm starting to see like that makes things worse sometimes, because the same concept you mentioned of
about communication,
like communication, I mean,
added in with the finances.
Yeah, like finances is number 2 now. Communication is number 1.
Yeah,
and so I mean a lot of that could be because of modern times. I mean, and depending on the male or the female, it just depends. Usually, the woman's more vocal, and the male is more reactionary internally.
Yeah.
So you have all these emotions that you're not letting out, or you don't want to be viewed a certain way with your woman, and then you end up taking it out, which I've done countless times.
Yeah.
And you realize like that doesn't make it better. It actually makes it worse because all they wanted to do was just help out. I just think, the construct of marriage, I support it, but I'm, legally I understand your viewpoint because that, it is at the end of the day, it is a business decision. Like you are literally or pretty much contractually obligated with this person with all major life decisions moving forward,
Right.
whether there's children involved or not. So I don't necessarily think you have to go through that to be married.
Right.
It is more westernized.
And I do support it as well. It's just that you got to think everybody not doing the same type of marriage worldwide. You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
To
Totally
get on
different.
not even on a deeper note, but we all know that the United States is a business country.
Capitalism.
Continent.
Yeah. Economic.
I said country. Yeah, country.
It is a country.
Yeah. I think I said continent.
It's a continent too. It's both.
Nah, bro, I slipped. But yeah, country.
It's the same thing. Does geography make you money? Then it don't matter.
Not for me.
It don't matter. It's all good. Yeah, I just think, it just depends on everybody's situation. What's funny is our friend group is so vastly different. We have some that are married, some of us are not, some that are in situationships or whatever. So it's always funny hearing everybody's point of view on what works.
Who married?
My brother.
Oh, okay. Dang, I forgot about it.
Yeah, yes.
Crazy.
Mel's
I mean,
married.
okay,
Yes,
yeah. Shout out 2 times.
Yeah, I know. It's hard to say. Right?
I mean, they be
He's so cool, you don't know.
too cool.
Right.
You're going strong. Let's keep pushing.
Yeah, shout out to them. But no, it's just he the only one. That's crazy.
That's what I was saying. Like,
But anyways, but no, I think it's funny though that our group is so different, and then we all view these things differently. Like I said, I think if anybody was in a polygamous relationship, I think you have to have a lot of emotional understanding because you're just dealing with different energies all the time. I also just think naturally, I probably couldn't do that just because of
it's draining, bro.
yeah, that's too much.
It seemed like
I already struggle with
That's
myself.
what I was gonna say.
I already struggle with myself.
So
So
with yourself, and then you trying to make it make sense with one other person. Add another one. That's 3 people. Not including kids.
kids involved too. No, that's tough. I understand the concept, at least historically.
But that's what I'm saying though. People just, like I said, go to my point. People just jump into it for a trend or whatever. Out here, most people I could say out here, but out there, it was purposeful. They understood the concept and the bigger purpose of village and community versus here. So
how do we solve that problem though? Because we still have that issue. We still have that issue with village and community. Our family dynamic, now we'll be more specific, of color is a lot more broken. Whether that's with kids,
Right.
The parent, separation, or what do you think is the solution to that problem?
Honestly, me just sitting here listening to you, I really think that we could learn from Mexicans, Caucasians, and Asians. Because you can learn from Caucasians because, they have a habit of putting their kids on their credit or setting up financially down the line and not kicking them straight out the house, you know what I'm saying, if they need the support. Then you got Mexicans. A lot of them stay on the same roof, and that's super normal, like 20 in the crib.
Pretty much group, all of them represent group economics,
Right.
essentially.
And they just, right, yeah. And they pinpoint different things that we need to learn from and apply, I feel like.
Yeah, because we don't do group economics.
Right.
It's very seldom that we as a people utilize group economics because most of us are 18 years old, so we got to get kicked out of our mama house or whatever, or even, when we're with people that we're dating, sometimes our preference is I don't need you to live with your parents. Like, that's on both sides, and so like that aspect, yeah. And also, it was just there was an independent separation historically, what happened in the 60s.
Right.
So folks had a different mentality. I think once, economic upliftment started to be more of a driven policy, people like Dr. King and stuff like that, and obviously you lose the head of that leadership, everybody start looking around like, are we a group anymore?
Right.
We don't have nobody that kind of spearheads that.
But that's another thing. I feel like us as a people, we always looking for the next leader instead of us being our own individual leaders,
That's fair.
I honestly feel like that because you can see throughout history, and then even Obama, he was a figure and people really looked up to, and I understand he was the first president, but just like you said, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, anybody else you want to name, we always put them on that pedestal like, yeah, lead us, and that's nothing wrong with that, but if those people are gone consistently, then be that for yourself. We need to do that as a whole. And I also was gonna say it's bittersweet, the whole kicking your kids out early, because it does build us up character wise, but still,
we just usually don't have the economic backing, so if our kids do fail, we can't just lift them back up. It's like usually we're all in a hole, and they got to dig out of a hole, and we got to dig ourselves out of a hole. Yeah. So that's the thing. And it's just usually because of the infrastructure of economics, how we don't really get the opportunities. Like we usually can't get the business loans and all the various things that are going through hoops and ladders until one of us figures out the game, and sometimes they give you the information and we don't usually apply it, or it's just like that one person just got lucky. So,
right.
It doesn't apply to everybody, man. Right. But I just, I think that's a work in progress. But I always say that if we actually worked collectively, even within our own families, a lot of us would be a lot more successful.
It would be a whole another Black Wall Street.
Yes, that'd be a whole nother Black Wall Street. But
multitudes. we starting to see it though, like, Houston and Atlanta and stuff like that, places like that. I'm hearing about Charlotte too, but so we, not to discredit our people, we definitely doing it. We making it make sense, but it's still more that we could do.
For sure. All right, so I wanted to go transition now to actually, like, as I mentioned in the beginning, you are a producer, an artist, I would say. You have the creative ability to produce and make music. I've seen it. I remember you started making music in high school when beats were, we used to say, trash back in the day. And then even in college when you used to run the same loop over and over all day during school, man. And now, I know you're still on that journey. What keeps you going? Because that's at least 13 years. And I'm not saying you haven't made it, because we've seen you knocking on the door. But how do you keep going when you haven't necessarily hit that place that maybe that you desire to hit?
Well, first and foremost, I want to give my appreciation, because it's not just refreshing to hear, but also to be acknowledged, and just to hear the full circle, and the beginning stages of anybody, so it's definitely cool and fun to just think about, because my shit was ass, like, for sure. But like you said, I never stop. But
yeah,
what keeps me going is just, it's a passion, it's a love, Same thing, with you, you love to write and to create. You're an author, you a host, you a plethora of things. And so when you got a passion for stuff, you just keep going. Like, you don't stop because you love it. So that's all it is, really.
Where do you think the state of rap music is going to go? Hip hop, R&B. I know you're interested in different genres too, but
yeah. R&B, it just be resampling stuff these days, bro.
Saying it lost its originality?
Don't get me wrong, they definitely made it's definitely its own entity now, but we still grabbing on to parts of the past, I feel like. And they did it back then too, but they was more so original and authentic. I mean, nothing new under the sun, but they definitely just had that energy like, let's make something new. Instead of like, oh, let's resample this and make a hit, you know. Hip hop, I really feel like I ain't been listening to a whole lot lately, but I feel like that it's gonna start, like you seeing left and right the people getting kind of in the uplifting vibes, like positive vibes, like you said, holistic, or teaching health and prosperity. Just, you know, anything that's on a high note, I feel like that's kind of coming more so into play, and I like that. But other than that, I don't know where hip hop gonna go. Honestly,
I know the crazy thing is what I've learned about music itself, and I apologize if y'all hearing a truck beeping. Like I said, we outside, man. That's what we do. One thing that you mentioned, and I think I've learned from you, I learned from Curtis, I've learned from just our conversations in that thinking chat. Mm-hmm. Like the value of frequencies,
right?
Like the frequencies in the music. Are you more conscientious of that? Like, and I guess for those who don't know, like music has a certain frequency, correct? Mm-hmm. And so I know historically they've shifted that, so it kind of taps into our energies a lot different as people. Mm-hmm. So there's certain music that we listen to that it can either have a positive or a negative effect. So, like for example, when I listen to gospel music, I usually feel very therapeutic. I feel uplifted. Oftentimes I feel like I want to cry and let any negativity out. There are sometimes when I listen to rap music, more harder music, where you feel inclined to, your energy is shifted towards that too. So like if I listen to Lil Durk right now and I hear, or I listen to Gucci or whoever, and there's certain songs back in the day I used to like my energy is going to shift towards that. Like, use this for example, since we're home in the Lou. Like when we hear "Nuck If You Buck," like when that song comes out, all of us, while we are joking about it, it makes you naturally want to feel like you have to fight somebody.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
And that's really the magic, bro. Like people really, I feel like it goes over people's head. Like even us back then, because we'll be at certain parties. Certain songs will come on, fights break out, shots in the air, you know. Like literally, it's an energy that comes with certain music. So, I low-key forgot your question. Did you even ask?
I'm just saying, like the power of frequencies.
Yeah, and, no, it's definitely a power, because, like I said, like malicious vibes, malicious energy comes from them type of tones, and the music can bring that out in a person. And scenes, and same like you said with gospel music, and it's not all rap and hip hop, but once we start applying more in what we listen to and being conscious and aware, then people will start to realize, you know, okay, so another example would be like Afrobeat. You know, Afrobeat is real. I feel good when I listen to most Afro beats, you know, and I think you do too, and most people do. You know, I want to dance and stuff, groove, and do the same thing, you know, funk. So it's always an energy with the music and frequency. So I am being more conscientious of what I absorb and listen to, and a lot of stuff I don't even want to make or hear, honestly, these days. But it's always a time and a place to tap into certain energies as well.
Yeah, no, I agree. I wholeheartedly agree. I just, you know, like I said, now that we've had those conversations, because I know when you first started, obviously,
all I was doing,
like Lex Luger, Southside, like those guys were so big and they were so prominent. In the early part of making beats, that trap beats were that was the mecca. Yeah, that was everybody wanted to make a trap beat. Yeah. I know within the past year, I've seen you kind of sway away. Obviously, I mean, we got Nico, and that's the only. I won't even say his beats are like that, but there's a fluctuation of his beats. Or even when you worked with Noble, there's a fluctuation in beats. And so, but I've sat here and watched you cook up a lo-fi beat or cook up more of a melodic beat. That's it's a different vibe, and so that's good to know. Like the conscious effort of our decisions based off of the frequency, which is very similar to the food that we eat too.
Yeah, and I just want to say, to end off on it, I've been, like you said, I started making trap. I learned from the greats, like you said, and it was real. It was fun in the beginning, it's just real repetitive now. So these days, I'm not saying I wouldn't make it, like keep making it, but most of the time when I'm making it just doesn't get me excited. It doesn't bring love, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't make me feel good. Cause I mastered it versus, lo-fi, that's something different. Funk, I want to, Afrobeat, I want to make some stuff that it brings positivity, love, and where people can heal, and all you gotta do is put the lyrics to match it, and then you benefit in the world in that sense, and that's kind of what I want to gravitate to. So I am being more, of course I got, like you said, I work with Noble and Nico, and even, Nico is growing in what he talks about in his selection, and same with Noble. But when it comes to like new artists, I'm definitely like incorporating like, hey, I'm kind of on this vibe, not really on that ratchet shit, but I mean, if you need it, I got it, but I don't really want to.
If you need it, I'll let one go.
Yeah.
No. It's
real. More passion and love. Like when I'm making it, I get happy. Like, okay, I did that. Like, let's push something like that. So that's kind of where I'm at with that.
Yeah, no, man. Well, that makes so much sense, man. I appreciate you taking the time to give us an hour of your knowledge, so much that we can continue to learn as people, man. And I'm actually grateful to be in this space where we're outside, able to record,
this is fun.
Have conversations while birds and bugs have been flying all over this entire place. This might be a one and done for me, but
it was definitely fun, man.
Brother, I appreciate it, man. For those who don't know where to find you, where can they find you at?
Really on Instagram right now. CANE cocaine. CANE cocaine. YEKANE. Yeah, and that only came through because our partner Jesse.
Shout out to P.
Yeah, he made a tag for me. So, when y'all are here, it's gonna make sense.
Yeah, but he still lives a healthy lifestyle. You know what I mean? Don't let the username fool you.
The cocaine is just a quick backstory, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was kind of freestyled on his end, but it makes sense because my producer name is Ye Kane. That's two different things of crack. And so the one of the tags he says is Kane, cocaine, Ye Kane. It's all the same. I mean, it's like my music is crack, basically he's saying. So, yeah, I don't do drugs. I don't even smoke weed, so yeah.
Yeah, we live a very healthy lifestyle over here, man. Well, I appreciate it, man. As always, make sure you all subscribe, share it, give it to a friend. I think it's time to get back into this interview space. So I do appreciate
you, man,
joining me, man. And this has been great. As always, peace and blessings. We gone.